Hello everybody, welcome to one more chess game, and in this game I play with black and my opponent plays with white. He starts with his queen pawn and I respond with my queen pawn, and here I'll go with the moves pretty fast, the initial moves. So here you can see I have moved both my pawns towards the left, forming a small pawn chain because I like to attack from the left. That's why I have brought both my pawns there on h6 and g5. But he comes with his pawn from c2 to c4, thereby attacking my center pawn, which is at d5. I bring my bishop to protect it further, but he doesn't take my pawn, but he comes and attacks me even further. He doesn't want to create an open file, so if he had taken my pawn on d5, so an open file would have been created, but he doesn't want to create an open file. And then I take my knight on e4, because e4 is strategically a very strong position there, because it has a lot of influence. That knight, that black knight over there on e4, has a lot of influence on many squares, and that's why I have kept it there. Let's see how he responds. He comes with his bishop and tries to attack my king, and right now only my knight is protecting it. And here I move my queen up, and I have done a mistake over here. I want you to see what I have done over here and why I say that it is a mistake. Here, in the next move, my opponent can come with his white knight from f3 onto e5. So this horse can from here to here. Once this horse comes here, then I have an attack on my queen and on my knight. Now my knight cannot eat his knight because the bishop will eat my queen, so that is why I need to retreat with my queen over here, and there is a problem. What I should have done, instead of taking my queen up, I should have kept my bishop over here, and it would have served me a dual purpose. Number one, it would have prevented its knight from coming in this position. The knight would not have been able to come in this position. That is number one advantage. Second advantage would have been a bishop should always be there on the middle diagonal. So this is the middle diagonal, and it has its longest influence, and there, that is the ideal place for the bishop to be there. So I didn't see that, and that was a mistake, and we will see how the game proceeds from here. He comes with his knight and attacking me on my queen as well as on my knight. I retreat with my knight, and then he takes it. I take it back with my pawn, but there it comes. There he eats with his bishop, and there is a double attack. This is a pretty bad situation for me to be in, because his white bishop over here is attacking my king as well as my rook. This is a double attack. I should have thought about it at this level. I should have thought about it and should have prevented it, but I haven't, and therefore I have to pay a price. The price is my rook, and I bring my bishop, but he takes my rook. I take his bishop back, but my valuable rook is gone, and bishop is always weaker than a rook. So in this position, I would say I am losing actually in this position. We will see how the game proceeds from here. He comes with his queen, and now I take my pawn forward. The reason being, I want to activate my diagonal. I want to activate my bishop in this line, because and this pawn over here, which was here, it was blocking, so I had to take it up, and that's why it got activated. And if I want, in any kind of situation, if it demands, I can also take my bishop here, and it will again have that strong influence in this line. So let's see how it goes from here. He does castling right now. I have got some more time to launch my left side attack as well. I come a little bit towards the left, as I told you. He comes with his pawn, and now I go towards the left with my knight so that I attack his rook. So he changes his rook's position. Now I come with my pawn. Now, as I told you, I am trying to focus on my left side attack. He reads it, he reads my mind, and he brings his pawn here. He brings his pawn with the idea of taking this pawn so that my left side attack will be weakened. But I do not want to weaken my left side attack, so I don't take his white pawn, rather I bypass it. So my idea in my mind will be to bypass it, of course, but for now I have given it, I'm aiming on his rook, so he has to move his rook. So I get little bit more time to move my pawn, which is at g5. So he moves his rook, as I told you, and now I move my pawn and aiming it on two pieces of his, one powerful and one not so powerful. Here, this is a very crucial this is a very crucial point at the game. Here my pawn over here is aiming at his rook and also on this pawn. And this pawn, if you see this particular pawn, it's very important because it is guarding the king, and that's why this is not an ordinary pawn. So at this point, when I am applying pressure on both the rook as well as this pawn, this is a pretty good thing for me. And so how he responds, we'll see how he responds. He responds by eating my pawn, which is not at all good because I eat it back, and as a result, in this position, if you see in this position, this file has been opened up and this is straight away going towards the king, and that is pretty threatening. This particular file where I have my rook is pretty threatening. Not only that, I am also applying pressure on his rook, so he has to move his rook. So he doesn't have any time to move his king from here to any other place because he has to take care of his rook over here. So right at this point in time, I am having a pretty strong attack going from the left side. Okay, so he moves his rook, as I told you, and if he had not moved his rook, my pawn would have eaten. That's why he had to remove his rook. So this gives me the opportunity to take my pawn even further up, thereby increasing the attack even further. So with the pawn over here, you should be able to know, with the pawn over here, the king is kind of choking. I have almost choked the king because these are the positions where I am having influence now. These two positions, because the pawn is there, and as I told you, a pawn in itself is not that strong, but in some crucial positions when it is on the when it has moved quite a bit up high, and at that time the pawn becomes very powerful. So these are the positions that I'm having my influence. So I can bring my rook from here to here. In that way his king will not be able to take it because my pawn is guarding there. So that's why in this state of the game, it is becoming pretty interesting as I am mounting pressure more and more from the left side. Let's see how the game proceeds from here. So he realizes it and he comes with his queen and he comes on the second row for him to give his king more support. but I think time is running out for him now. As I place my rook near, breathing over the shoulder of the king, and definitely he is nervous now. So his king is trapped. He can't move anywhere. He can't move with his king anywhere. What will he do now? He brings more pieces in rescue for the king. So now he has brought his knight. The thought that is in my mind I want to share with you is, I don't care whether he is able to bail out his king or what is the plan. I am more concerned about my plan, and my plan is to bring my queen also in this place. My queen can come to this place, but my king is blocking, so I have to move the king to this position and bring the queen. Once I bring the queen in this position, I think it will be game over. I do not get bothered by his plan. So I move my king up, and he comes to f3. When he comes to f3, he's definitely putting pressure on my rook. But then it is a bit late for him, because even if he takes my rook, if I have my queen in the right place, my queen will be able to eat his knight back, and that will be checkmate. That's exactly what I have done here. I have brought my queen also on the h file, and let's see what he does. He takes a lot of time to think, and right now he has run out of options. He doesn't have any option right now. The only thing he thought that he could do was this, and that gave me a glorious opportunity. I have that I can take the knight with my queen, and there is no escape. That should be checkmate. That is what I have done here, and that is checkmate. So that is the end of this game. And as I told you, all the games have got something or the other to teach you. So here, if you analyze at the end, what happened was all his pieces over here, his rooks, I'll just take a screenshot and show you. His rook, his bishop, here over here, they are pretty much crippled. They are not doing anything, and he has not taken into account my left side attack, though he played well in the middle part of the game, wherein he took my rook from here. But it was my plan which actually paid me dividends at the end, and I emerged victorious in this match. And that which comes to my mind, the learning lesson that you can have in your mind is, whatever plan you have in your mind, you should go ahead with your plans. You should not be rattled by anything that happens. Like, for example, he takes away a piece of yours, a powerful piece of yours. In this case, he had taken away my rook. But instead of getting too much rattled, if you have a plan in your mind, then go ahead with your plan, and more often than not, you may win. By my plan, which was basically, this was the plan: the queen and the rook attack from the left. This was the plan which paid dividend. Thank you very much. If you have liked the video, definitely like it and share it also. Thank you. Bye.